Hello. Who is? Do we know who this is?
That's James Box. Rudy's the cameraman.
Hey Jim,
Yeah.
when you get a chance, can you move Julia Matthews to
Oh, sure.
um yeah to as a panelist? Thank you.
Absolutely.
She hasn't updated her. I mean, I think that's her.
Yep. I see President Vidivir as well.
Huh? Yeah, but she has her. Oh, there she is. Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome everyone to our hybrid meeting. Participants in the room, please do not join the meeting in Zoom. Virtual participants, if you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. Members attending virtually, if you are able, please activate your video for purposes of quorum and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Staff, if you are able, please activate your video when you are speaking. Members of the committee, when you wish to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote, please push the person button on your microphone or raise your hand virtually. Those in the room will have their microphone turned on when they are recognized to speak. Those attending virtually can unmute themselves when recognized. When you are finished, all should mute themselves. Members of the public who have registered to speak. Those attending virtually, the name you entered in Zoom must match the name you entered in registration. You will remain muted until called upon. If you are here in person, when you are called to speak, approach one of the two podiums on either side of the dais and you'll be recognized. For all registrants, the clerk will tell you when your time is up. After all public speakers, a member of the body may ask you a question. If you need to share documentation with the committee, please send it to the email listed on today's agenda. Thanks. Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jim. Welcome to the ALRC. Welcome new members of the committee, Alder Figueroa Cole and Alder Carmela Glenn. And congratulations to all of the alders who were sworn in yesterday. This meeting is governed by Robert's Rules of Order. All speakers wishing to address the committee regarding an agenda item must first complete a registration form. Did you just read that?
I don't know. I don't think so. No.
Speakers may speak to the committee only after they are called by the chair. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. So what we'll do today and what we've done in the last few meetings is we'll ask anyone who's here to provide testimony on their application for a new license. We'll be asked if they made the required disclosures to the 3 parties listed on the application. And based on the answer to that question, the committee can decide how to proceed. After that, we'll hear testimony for up to 3 minutes. Next on our agenda is roll call. Mr. Verbeek.
Yep. Alder Glenn.
Present. I tried to turn on my video, but it's doing what you all see, so I don't know what's going on.
Do you have
I'm
something?
here.
If you move the thing at the top, is it blocking it? Because I know sometimes mine gets that little white dot.
Yeah, I know. That's what my other computer has, but there's no slide thing up here.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going on.
As
But
long-
it's on.
Yeah, as long as you know you're here, I think that's important.
Okay. All right.
Alder Revere.
Here.
Alder Revere is here. Ms. Farley.
Present.
Ms. Farley is here. Ms. Wester's excused. Ms. Carter's excused. Mr. Bruchuk.
Here.
Mr. Bruchuk is here. Alder Figueroa Cole.
Here.
Alder Figueroa Cole's here. Chair, we do have quorum.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of the March 19th minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second the motion. I think that should be uncontroversial. Is there any objection to approval of the March 19th minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Approval of the March 26th minutes. Is there a motion to approve the March 26th minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second? Chair seconds. Is there any objection? What was that?
I wasn't at the meeting, so that's what I'm not seconding, but I'll take yours.
Understood. Thank you, Alder Figueroa Cole. Is there any objection to approval of the March 26th minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Next on the agenda is general public comment. Are there any registrants for this item?
There are no registrants for general public comment.
Thank you. Are there any disclosures or recusals? Members of the body should make any required disclosures or recusals under the city's ethics code. If there are any questions about that, let's see. Seeing none, the next item is presentation of the consent agenda. Mr. Verbeek?
Sure. So what we typically do is we do a initial read through the consent agenda. I'll just say what the items are, like a category of items and the number, in which it will read through it quick. The committee can choose to remove anything if they wish. And then once we have passed the consent agenda, I'll read verbatim what it says on the consent agenda as far as which items are being referred or recommended to grant, et cetera. So the proposed consent agenda for ALRC meeting April 16th, 2025, recommended council to grant operator license application, item number 2. This is recommended to approve by the ALRC operator subcommittee. Temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit, item number 3. Change of agent for items 4 and 5. Entity reorganization for item 6. Request to extend license issuance beyond the 180-day limit under MGO 38.05, item 7. Recommend the council to re-refer. That's a public hearing new license for item 14. And this was referred by the request of the Alder. And recommend the council to place on file without prejudice municipal approval of full-service retail alcohol sales, item number 25. And this was determined that the municipal approval is not necessary for an application at the production site.
Thank you. Would any member like to separate one of those items? If there are no requests for separation, then a motion to approve the consent agenda would be in order. So if everyone's happy with the
Move to adopt.
a motion by Alder Figueroa Cole, is there a second?
Second.
Now, the motion was to adopt the consent agenda with the recommendations. Are there any objections to adoption of the consent agenda and those recommendations? Seeing none, the motion passes. Mr. Verbeek, could you review the consent agenda one more time?
Sure. So the past consent agenda for ALRC meeting April 16th, 2025. Recommended council to grant item 2, operator license application for Samuel W. Gabler. This is a recommended to approve by the ALRC operator subcommittee. Item 3, temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit for the Sun Prairie Lions Club if the event is run Madtown. Item 4, change of agent, Goodman Community Center at 149 Wabisa Street. Item 5, change of agent for Goodman Community Center at 214 Wabisa Street. Item 6, entity reorganization for Monona Catering LLC. Item 7, request to extend license issuance beyond the 180-day limit under MGO 38.05 for MPL Corporation Investment at 823 Williamson Street. Recommend the council to re-refer public hearing number 14, public hearing new license for Kirill Hut, Inc. at 232 East Town Mall, Class B beer, Class C wine, and this is request to be referred by the Alder. And lastly, recommend the council to place on file without prejudice item 25, municipal approval of full-service retail alcohol sales for Carbon 4 Brewing LLC, and it was determined that the municipal approval is not necessary for applications at production site.
Thank you. If you heard your business name and read in that list, then you are done for tonight. We won't have any further questions for you. You're welcome to stay if you'd like.
And I'll say that the interpreter, Holly, you can take off as well. Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is item number 8, change of license premises for Big Top Events LLC, DBA Breeze Stevens Field. Are there any registrants for this item?
There are quite a number of registrants for this item. But but only one of them is available to answer questions, and that is the applicant. So if you'd like, I can read the people who are not wishing to speak or wait until after the person wishing to speak. I just want to make sure we don't lose those people registering as a.
Yeah. So they're not wishing to speak, but able to answer questions?
They said.
Tristan just re-registered to wishing to speak.
Yeah, Tristan is with the applicant, is registered in support, available to answer questions, but there's a number of people who are opposed and not wishing to speak.
Okay. I guess whatever you want to go with them first, and that's fine with me.
With Tristan?
To read the registrants.
Okay. Yep.
First.
So I'll read the ones who are not wishing to speak. So Nicholas Davies is opposed, not wishing to speak. Judith Strand, opposed, not wishing to speak. Larry Jensen, opposed, not wishing to speak. Graham Jonitis is opposed, not wishing to speak. Gene Farrell, opposed, not wishing to speak. Tracy Doreen Deitzel, opposed, not wishing to speak. Ann Walker, opposed, not wishing to speak. Thomas Nunes is opposed, not wishing to speak. And Marshall Rummel, opposed, not wishing to speak. And as mentioned, Tristan Straub is in support and available to answer questions. And I believe he is in Zoom. Maybe. Wait, maybe not.
Attorney McReynolds?
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time for this, but I did want to let the members of the ALRC know what you have the authority to do and not to do. Would you like me to explain that now, Chair?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I think there was some confusion with this specific application. This body can only approve whether or not alcohol is allowed in a specific area. So for this application, I understand that the applicant is asking to kind of expand where they're allowed to have alcohol. But this body can't approve using the sidewalk, can't approve a fence. So I did read through the comments from the neighborhood, and a lot of the things that people are have opinions about are not something that this body can approve or deny. So really what the ALRC could do is if Big Tep gets approval from the city that they actually need to do what they're asking to do, then the ALRC could decide in the area they're asking to expand if alcohol can be allowed there. But the ALRC cannot approve that they can expand into that space. So I just wanted to clear that up before this goes any further. And I'll be here if there's any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney McReynolds. Tristan, are you with us? Yes. Oh, would you like to provide any opening testimony or statements?
Yes. Oh, yep. You
You can come up here.
Yes, I would. Do I just go?
Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to try to clean up a little bit of the confusion as we read through some of the oppositions. To first, our goal here with this was largely to create a safer, cleaner sort of environment outside, clean up our security processes, et cetera, clean up the path of ingress, and provide additional sort of restroom spaces for folks. We have already received, it's kind of cart next to the horse a little bit, but we have received our street use permit to close Patterson 3 o'clock on for most. It might vary per concert slightly based on the times. And then to what you're speaking of, we have to go back. I've had communications. I have to go back, sort of add this to the street use permits that have been granted as far as a layout and a plan. But the streets of Patterson have already kind of been approved in this space. So at no point are we looking to expand upon that, and are, again, looking to kind of take about a third to half of that space, and just make it a little bit cleaner by Gate 1. We have also acknowledged the concerns about the bicycle parking. I do have, just have it on my phone. We've created a new map that kind of slides that gate about 7 or 8 feet in that would allow to keep that, the bicycle parking, all the bicycle parking on the East Washington side and the public bicycle parking there open, sidewalks open, and that would leave only 2 bicycle places still in the perimeter on the Patterson side, and we would allow access to those for those that needed throughout it. We continue to, as we do on Mifflin and Burley, have people stationed at the barricades to move them as bikers come through. We always keep a bike lane. That's part of the street use permit process as well. It's required, but we always keep the barricades attended in case somebody moves them, kicks them, does whatever there. And I think the only other point I kind of wanted to make is that, we came to this plan through conversations with Special Event MPD and some of the other entities that we work with and really trying to understand, again, how to clean up what's already sort of happening in that area more so than try to create a new problem.
Thank you. Are there any questions from members of the committee? Oh, Tristan, Alder Revere, you have a question?
Yes, Chair, thank you, but I can suspend if you were about to ask something.
I was just going to ask, I'm looking at this picture here, right here at the corner of Patterson and East Wash. Is that what I'm looking at?
Yes.
And is the current premises is what? Where you're allowed to sell alcohol?
It's just inside the wall,
Just
so it
inside the
follows
wall.
the line of the
Okay.
stadium.
And you're asking this committee to approve extending it to this triangle area here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that, and I don't know if it's helpful, I only have it on my phone, but I do have a sort of mocked up one of the adjustments for the bicycle.
Oh, well, I'm not asking about
sorry.
the B-cycle right now. So what we're focused on is, whether you should be allowed to extend your licensed premises into this additional area. So Oliver Veer, you can ask a question if you have one.
Yeah, thank you again. Tristan, as you probably heard, Connor and I had a discussion within the hour here about several topics, and I appreciate that you've addressed some of them, including, although technically not our jurisdiction here, since we are the only public body approving this now that the Street Use Staff Commission is more private and no longer technically exists. I do just want to say at the outset, I appreciate the modification to keep pedestrian and bike lanes on Patterson. So just want to say that at the top. Thank you for that. As I mentioned to Connor when we talked today, I think one reason for the confusion is that the application wasn't all that explanatory, including a legend with the map. Could you confirm what the green items are in the map in the application?
Yeah, I apologize.
Presume that's point of
Those-
sale.
Those would be our proposed points of sale. They're reflecting, they're about 5-foot wide Arctic chiller, sort of rolling kiosks that just vend cans and bottles on ice.
And Connor forwarded me an email chain between you and leadership of Tenny Lapham Neighborhood Association Council that, if I remember reading it correctly, quickly here, those points of sale would only be open pre-concert. Is that correct? Before the gates open, and then would not be closed during the concert?
Yeah, that's the hope. And then we maintain, though, for the additional restroom space there and the security point, obviously.
So your patrons would be able to carry their adult beverages to the porta potties, wait in line for the porta potties in the expanded license premise if it's granted. Is that right?
That was
During
our,
the concerts.
that was our hope.
Yeah. And then speaking of the Tenny Lapham Neighborhood Association Council, unfortunately, they didn't send us a written statement for our packet tonight. And I only knew about it again because Connor reached out to me after I had reached out to city staff with questions this afternoon. Could you please explain your outreach to the neighborhood association and their apparent support of the elected leadership there?
Yeah, I emailed after we applied. I emailed the neighborhood association, Alder Rummel, all of the central district captain, ran down the list. There were just basically some emails back and forth. We set up our hour meeting last week in the Forward Club on premise. Nobody attended. So there was, I understand, there was a council meeting in which they expressed that there had been no dissenting opinions and there was general support. And then they put it on the agenda for the meeting that I believe was last Thursday. And then we received a separate note of approval via email. There were some questions that had circulated that Bob Kleba had proposed from somebody who had some questions, again, in the email that were resolved in that email chain. But
Thank you. That's very helpful to all of us to hear that. And that was my, again, review of that rather somewhat long email chain. Lastly, I think at this point, I just want to confirm that this would, if this application is solely for concerts, when you already have a street use permit to close most of Patterson Street there. So if this is approved, the first concert would be the AmFam Championship concert on June 6th. Is that correct?
yes, that is correct. Concerts only, and our first one will be June 6th.
So it would never be for any Mingo games or any of the other wide variety of events that you host at Breeze Stevens?
No.
Yeah. How many concerts are now scheduled for this calendar year so far, by the way?
I believe we have 4 announced, 2 more confirmed, awaiting announcement at this time.
How many do you?
We were approved up to 12 for the year.
Have you reached the maximum in any prior years?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Tristan. Thank you, Chair. I yield.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Alder Figueroa Cole, did you have something?
I think I have questions for staff when we're done.
Okay, thank you. Alder Mayor.
Thank you, Chair. How long do you, I missed this if you already said it, how long do you expect to be open before shows that you would be selling alcohol?
Our current thought was 2 hours prior, or we'd set up 2 hours prior.
Is that people waiting in line to get, I mean, is it kind of like a mingling area, supposed to be a place you come and hang out before the show, or is it just to contain people while they're waiting to get screened and get into the gate?
Well, the screening would happen to enter this area. It's kind of part of the reasons that we explored this, to clean up that ingress area just outside Gate 1. But yeah, the idea would be, it's kind of to gather all of the hundreds of people that can queue looking for places to go, namely restaurants and water. And at times it's been a little hard for us to communicate weather needs and things like that too, with such a sprawling audience outside. So it's largely to try and gather those people instead of having them lined up outside the walls.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Are there any further questions? Alder Figueroa Cole.
Thank you. I actually just gonna summarize for the applicant to make sure I understand the feedback. So I think it was stated that this is only will be applicable if the street permit is approved. You have approved 12 concerts per year. This only applies for concert nights. It will be closed at the time of when the concert begins, so it will go only up to the time of the concert, and potentially will be open 2 hours before the concert time. Did I get that right?
Yes, the only thing I would want to clarify there is our hope is not to close the area, but to stop selling alcohol once ingress begins.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alder or Attorney McReynolds.
Thank you, Chair. A question for the applicant. Do you have permission from the Board of Park Commissioners to use that plaza space?
That I'd have to check with Connor on.
Okay. I checked with the Assistant City Attorney who covers parks, and his opinion is that you would need permission from the Board of Park Commissions to expand into using that plaza space in addition to the street use permit. Again, not something this body can deal with, but something that would be needed before any of that use of the space is concerned.
Thank you.
Alder Verveer.
Thank you. In response to Attorney McReynolds' question, I did just forward you, Amber, an email I received from Assistant Park Superintendent CJ Ryan this afternoon. I posed the same question of Parks leadership, and just for the benefit of the applicant and the committee, she responded, the use agreement they have already permits the sale of alcohol at the park, which covers the whole block. So this would not need to go back to the Board of Park Commissioners. It does need to have their street use permit amended so they go into the street, which, as you can see, and she's related to an email chain that Kelly posts from the Parks Division staff had been in contact with Big Top about yesterday, as Tristan testified. So obviously we need clarification between Parks Division leadership and their legal counsel. I presume who is Assistant City Attorney Visti. This is who you were talking about, Doran Visti. So I just wanted to put that out there. I do have a question for Attorney McReynolds, though, if it's in order, Chair, at this point, a bit unrelated, but similar.
Go ahead.
Line of questioning here. A point was made in the written testimony by Attorney Linda Leonards that this application should technically be for in conjunction with the street use permit as opposed to the alcohol license that the applicant holds for Breeze Stevens. It sounds like you reviewed all the written testimony, Amber. What are your thoughts on that? Is this, in your opinion, is this the correct vehicle, this application, that it indeed is a change of license premise as opposed to in conjunction with the street use application? I realize this is an unorthodox.
Yeah. I'm
hybrid, if you will.
I'm not 100% sure. I think it's something that we need to look into more. Let's see. I'm just taking a look at this particular comment. I mean, it is in the street. My opinion is that sidewalk is part of the street. So I'm not sure where that exact line is between the premise that's already licensed and the street. So I think it's something that our staff and other city staff might need to look into further.
I appreciate that. I realize I'm putting you on the spot. I'd hate to have us have to perhaps repeat this conversation at our next regular meeting, if that's the case, or if we could amend the application vehicle tonight. But at this point, you're saying it's a gray area, and you're comfortable if we proceed with the application that's
And-
before us. I guess the really
I mean,
main
I think it's a
difference
gray
is what-
area.
Yeah.
What's being asked, though, for the change of premise isn't really something that the ALRC can approve anyway. Let me just take a look at what's actually listed on the change of premise form. You know, extend perimeter using 6-foot, 6-inch tall anti-climb fencing. You know, that's something the ALRC can't approve. Really what you're approving, if you approve anything, is if that space is allowed to be used, can there be alcohol in that space? And so I think that it's possible to still proceed tonight with conditions that would, you know, indicate that if they get the approvals they actually need from different departments or from, you know, the city as a whole, to use that space, which is a separate thing, if they have approval to use that space, whether or not they can have alcohol in that space. That's how I would view this application, if that helps, Alder Verveer.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Are there any further questions from members of the committee? So, Attorney McReynolds, am I right to think that members of ALRC should focus on the impact on health, safety, and welfare of having alcohol in that area, without regard to whether that area should be extended in the first place?
Yes. So I'm thinking about this. A lot of times the ALRC will see restaurants or bars come forth with an idea and they don't have zoning approval yet, for example. I'm not sure if this analogy tracks exactly, but sometimes there's kind of like two paths of approval, the alcohol approval and the everything else approval. And sometimes things come before the ALRC before a business can get approval for their business. That's how I'm kind of thinking of this. Like, I personally don't like that. I like to see a business get their approvals from the city first to know that they can do what they want to do and then get the alcohol approval. That's not what's happening here, but that's what I would recommend, you know, in those other kinds of situations where a business is asking to do something, but they don't have the zoning approval yet, for example. I kind of see it the same way here. It's just kind of like which application or which process is happening first. And here they're asking for the alcohol permission first.
Thank you.
Does that help answer the question? I'm sorry, Mr. Brusick.
It does. Thank you. Alder Figueroa Cole.
Attorney Reynolds, so would it be will this be a point on the meeting or on the process to put a motion to further discuss it, or we just, I mean, like, can I place a motion to approve or whatever the term is in this, with the list of conditions I mentioned before regarding the closure of the ending sales of alcohols by the time the concert starts, a condition that this will be approved if the street permit is approved, and that the alcohol sales begin 2 hours before concert time? Would that be?
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
I think you know the committee could go different ways. They could refer it, or they could do something like you suggested with basically a motion with several conditions. And I would recommend, you know, the condition that alcohol sales only be allowed in an area if the other permissions are, you know, given by the city. I'm sure there's a better way to phrase that. just so that it's clear that this board is not saying you can have alcohol here. You would be saying you can have alcohol here if you're allowed to expand into that space. And with, whatever conditions the board finds appropriate. And then I think we would have the applicant come up and agree to those conditions if he's still there and if that's what the committee would like to do.
Chair, are you okay if I just go ahead and make that motion?
Yes, you can make the motion.
Okay, so I guess I will move to approve the request with the condition that with the condition that this is only allowed if all city approvals are completed and approved, including the street permit, that the sales of alcohol cease at the time when the concert starts, and that the sales of alcohol begins 2 hours prior to the concert. So 2 hours before the concert for sales of alcohol, and then end of sales of alcohol when the concert starts. That's my motion.
Can you read your
Also-
was that a second?
Yeah, I was going to say, Chair, I'll second. I would appreciate maybe a little more of a clarification, though, that the change of license premise is only applicable to concerts as opposed to,
That was another one. Thank you.
as
Other Rivera.
opposed to the myriad of other events they host at Bree Stevens.
So actually, that was the first item on my list, and I didn't read that. So yes, so it's only applicable to concerts, only applicable to concerts, only applicable 2 hours of the alcohol sales to start 2 hours prior to the concert and ends at the time of when the concert begins, and under the condition that all the street permit and any other approvals from the city are processed and granted.
Okay, I'm having a hard time copying down the first condition. Did you get that, Mr. Verbeek? I have the other three.
Yeah, I think I was kind of phrasing it for ease of use in that the beginning and ending is sort of one condition, that sales of alcohol outside of Bree Stevens Field walls can begin 2 hours prior to the beginning of a concert and cease once the concert begins. I don't know if that's okay
That's
with.
correct.
Okay.
That's good.
And then the other condition being that sales of alcohol outside of Bree Stevens Field walls are only allowed if all city approvals are completed and approved, including street use permit.
I think that's what she said.
Was that the other condition?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Are you talking to me? I don't know. You're looking at somebody. I don't know who. I didn't know if you were looking at somebody else. And then the third condition is that this is only for the concert nights.
Yep.
Correct.
The change of premise is only applicable to concerts. There's been a motion and a second with conditions that Mr. Verbeek just read. Are there any clarifications of the motion needed, or are there any points of discussion? One second. Alder Verveer.
Yes, thank you. Just a clarification, as Deputy City Clerk Verbeek was reading the motion back, it occurred to me, the way that the motion is worded, are we precluding that patrons utilizing the porta potties may not have alcoholic beverages in their hands?
Alder
Or
Figueroa.
are all the various conditions related to pre-concert and so forth, are are we silent on that issue? In other words, the extension of licensed premise would be allowed during the period of the concert? Just no sales in that area?
So, okay, so the question is about, is it, Alder Figueroa Cole, did you hear the question?
I hear the question. I don't quite understand. Maybe Alder Revere, can you explain the concern there? Are we saying like we're not?
I don't have a,
sales?
yeah, I apologize, go ahead.
Oh, so we're not gonna have sales, but if someone comes out to go to the bathroom, we also want to control if they have alcohol with them. Like, is that? Can you maybe elaborate on what and
The applicant is obviously right there at the podium, so we could confirm with them, but my understanding is that the idea is that patrons would be able to utilize the porta potties in this area
I get
while
that.
with alcoholic beverages. There would not be any sale of alcoholic beverages during the concert in this area. It would only be pre-concert, as the proposed conditions speak to. But during the actual concert, would this still be part of the licensed premise is my question. I personally don't think we need to preclude that opportunity. Maybe. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I don't. I guess I don't. Do we have ordinances that prevent open containers to be used on the sidewalks and things like that? Is that where we asking this question?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, of course. It's a city ordinance, right?
Right.
Chair, could I? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to
No,
interrupt
go ahead,
you,
please.
Alder. Could we just confirm if my understanding is correct from the applicant, Chair, since we're going to turn to him next anyway to agree to the various conditions? Is my understanding correct?
Yes.
That you hope to allow your patrons to carry alcoholic beverages in this area during the concert? You just wouldn't be selling them during the concert in this area?
Yes, that is correct. We're hoping that this kind of solves an overall problem of too few restrooms in the facility during the show. But we would hope that, folks that had purchased their beer inside would be able to use those restrooms while holding the beverage.
Yeah. Thank you for the confirmation.
Did you have something
So I just
else?
want,
I just had one other mark of, clarification I could see this getting troublesome later on. Our intent with the 2 hours before the concert is 2 hours prior to the gates opening for the concert, not necessarily 2 hours prior to the music starting for the evening, which can have different variances.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I'm concerned at this point that there's confusion over the conditions, so I guess, would it be easy to email them, Mr. Verbic, so everyone on the committee can understand, and maybe we can amend the wording as appropriate to get what we really want.
Do you want me to just try to read what I've written to make sure that it's accurate, or do you want?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that works, go ahead.
Okay, so what I have is, the conditions are, 1, sales of alcohol outside of Bree Stevens Field walls only allowed if all city approvals are completed and approved, including street use permit. Number 2, sales of alcohol outside of Bree Stevens Field walls are allowed for concerts only. Number 3, sales of alcohol outside of Bree Stevens Field walls can begin 2 hours prior to the concert's opening for a concert and cease once the concert begins. Or if we want to revert it back to when the concert starts, but I leave that up to the committee on whether it's the concert beginning or the gates opening.
So the motion before the ALRC is approval of the change of premises with the conditions Mr. Verbic just read. And it's been seconded.
I guess I was hoping for conclusion about whether it's the concert beginning or the gate opening.
Alder Glenn.
That was going to be my question. Which one was the first and seconded on the alternate one about 2 hours prior to a concert, which I agree is a big difference than 2 hours prior to starting a concert and 2 hours prior to opening the gate. They're quite different for a music venue.
Thank you. Mr. Verbeek, can you read that relevant condition one more time?
Yeah, so the motion talks about the concert beginning, so I'll read
Okay.
it as that. So number 3, sales of alcohol outside of Breese Stevens Field walls can begin 2 hours prior to the beginning of the concert and cease once the concert begins.
If I were to guess, that it doesn't sound like members of the committee intend for it to be the more restrictive one, which is 2 hours before the concert begins. But if we approve the motion as it is right now, then that's what it is, what it would be. So if anyone has any friendly amendments, right now would be a time to suggest that. If not, we can move on to a vote. Is there any more comments or from the committee? Alder Verveer.
Thank you. Before we proceed to a vote, I do want to take the opportunity to invite either Captain Hartman and/or the newly minted Alder of the district, Alder Mayor, to share any feedback they might have for us on the motion.
I can go ahead and begin.
Go.
I don't have any issue with this. I do know that in working these concerts in the past, the staff are very responsible. They generally are staffed very well, and just the atmosphere that is provided there, I don't foresee any issues immediately that would arise from this. My thought would just be to allow it to be 2 hours before the gates open. I think that would be fine. I don't foresee any issues with it.
Thank you. Alder Mayor.
Thank you. First off, I've appreciated, I've used Breese Stevens over the last few years. I've appreciated the revitalization of that facility that Big Top has done. I've been a patron to events there. My concern is a little more about just the street use in general, which is not what this committee is looking at, and closing a lane. I do think that this area is not really going to be a place where people are pre-partying too much. I know that the prices are a little stiff inside, so if people are getting a drink before their game, they're going to a local bar across the street, not necessarily to hang out there. Yeah, so that's kind of where my concerns are. So I may need to revisit that at a different point, but otherwise, it seems all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alder Figueroa Cole.
I am okay changing the amendment, the motion to include the extra time as the feedback we just received from the police officer.
Is there any objection to amending that motion in that to reflect that it's 2 hours before the gates open? Any objection? All right, seeing none, the motion is, I will read them one more time because this is confusing. So, or should we hear from Attorney McReynolds first? Attorney McReynolds.
Thank you, Chair. My suggestion would be to read them one more time and then ask the applicant if he agrees to the conditions before you take the vote.
That sounds good. Mr. Verbeek.
All right, condition number 1, sales of alcohol outside of Breese Stevens Field walls only allowed if all city approvals are completed and approved, including street use permit. Number 2, sales of alcohol outside of Breese Stevens Field walls are allowed for concerts only. And number 3, sales of alcohol outside of Breese Stevens Field walls can begin 2 hours prior to the gates opening for a concert and cease once the concert begins.
Do you object to those conditions? Or
I do not object.
You do not. Are there any more comments from the committee? Then we shall, are there any objections to passing this motion from members of the committee? Seeing none, the motion is adopted and change of license premises is approved with conditions. Okay. Thank you, Tristan. You're done. Thanks for being with us. Are we ready to move on? Next on our agenda is item number 9. Cherokee Park Inc. doing business as TPC Wisconsin. Do we have a registrant for this item?
We do. I will say that this coincides with items 19 and 20. But we do have Dave Olzuk is registered and support available to answer questions for Cherokee Park, Inc. And Brittany Pinkham is also in support but not wishing to speak.
Thank you. So then, unless there's objection, we'll take up 9, 19, and 20. Public hearing new license, public hearing new license, change of premises. We'll take up those 3 all at the same time. And Dave, would you like to explain to the committee what your request is all about?
We're talking about the change of premises, correct?
Yes, but if you'd like to, you can also talk about the new license request.
Okay. I'll start with the change of premises. So we are hosting the PGA Tour Champions American Family Championship PGA tournament from June 2nd to June 8th. And working with the tournament director, Nate Pokras, and his team, and working with Jennifer Zilvey at the city, we wanted to figure out the best way to handle liquor licensing for this event. And what was advised of us from Jennifer and whoever she worked with was to temporarily change our liquor license coverage for the week. The liquor license normally covers the clubhouse and the golf course. With the tournament week, we will be restricting our liquor license, that's the change of premises, to the clubhouse only. And then the tournament vendor, the American Family Tournaments vendor, will be having the liquor license out on the golf course to serve alcohol during that time. So that's the overarching summary of this change of premise request.
Okay.
And then once the tournament is done, our liquor license reverts back to covering the entire property that we have.
So you're not applying then for a public hearing new license for the golf course? Did I hear that correctly?
Not for the golf course. The second new license application we have in is for our golf academy that we provide lessons, instruction, and club fitting to our members at.
And is that the one on Sherman Avenue?
Yes, that's the 5105 North Sherman Avenue.
Okay. Attorney Zilvey.
Hi, thank you. Just to let the committee know, first of all, I appreciate the fact that AmFam and all the parties involved reached out back in 2023 when they knew they were going to be having the tournament to give the city time to figure out how this could be done. I did talk with the Department of Revenue to ask their advice on how this could be accomplished, and the applications that are before you are at the advice of the Department of Revenue. That's how they said this could be accomplished. And the new application is for the vendor who will be providing the alcohol on the course during the tournament event. When the tournament's over, they will, I believe this is how they decided to do it. They could either reapply next year, or they can come back and get an amended premise that is just a tiny little portion of the golf course. And then next year they'd come back to expand the premise again for next year's tournament. So just so you know, I did run it by the Department of Revenue, and that is how they, excuse me, suggested we could accomplish this.
Thank you, Attorney Zillivi. So between your analysis and the Department of Revenue's work with that, are there any concerns the committee should know about? Any big things we should be thinking about right now? That we may not.
Are you
think of
asking me
ourselves?
that?
Yes, I am.
I don't think so.
Okay.
They've been running this tournament, I don't know how many years, but it was on the west side at the University Ridge Golf Course. And to my knowledge, there have not been any issues related to alcohol at that tournament. And I would expect the same with it coming to the TPC course.
Thank you. Alder Figueroa Cole.
Thank you, Chair. Just questions for the applicant. If I'm not mistaken, this required a contract change or a contract to be issued between you and Parks to use the Olbrich, to use the Cherokee area for parking. Is that correct?
We have Nate Pocrass, the tournament director, on this call as well. I'm sure he can speak to that. We personally do not handle parking for the tournament.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it would make sense for us to hear from Nate Pocrass, just because we had agreed that it was okay to take up these items at the same time. So unless any member of the committee objects, we'll hear from Nate Pocrass. And
Hello, this is Nate Pocrass. Correct, I'm the executive director of the American Family Insurance Championship. We are hosts of the tournament June 2nd through the 8th at TPC Wisconsin. As Dave, Vice President of TPC Wisconsin, mentioned, they currently have the liquor's license for the property. We are asking to have that license, as we acknowledge, restricted to clubhouse only, and then our tournament will execute public concession services on property from June 2nd through the 8th. We have a concessionaire contractor that ultimately executes large-scale events throughout the country and has been our partner on this event. As also been discussed, we have been hosting this event since 2016. All prior years have been at University Ridge Golf Course and have successfully executed that event under the umbrella of the University of Wisconsin. And now we are obviously moving here to the Madison property. I recognize there's a question about where we're parking. My understanding, this is strictly about alcohol license, and we have separate applications related to parking and parks. That'll be addressed at other city meetings. We're here to discuss strictly our request for the new alcohol license as we described June 2nd through the 8th.
Thank you. That's exactly, this look familiar because it's an application that I sponsored as a board of parks member, so it sounded familiar. So thanks for confirming that this is related to that parking request. So my question for the applicant is, what is the plan for community engagement and information? Because since my name is on that other application, we have received quite a few emails with concerns about communications. So regardless if this is a license request versus a parking request, I strongly feel that the question about getting the neighborhood and the area informed is still relevant. So what is the plan for that?
Yes, as specific to this application, we emailed and been in communication with Alder Glenn. We shared the information with Madison Police Captain Gary. We shared our application on the alcohol license with the Cherokee Park Neighborhood and Cherokee Condo Associations, Deputy Clerk Verbic as well. We notified them of our application last week. We hosted a listening session and acknowledged we had a listening session on last Friday. Nobody attended that listening session. Both Dave and I were there online, available to ask questions. Separate of this license itself, we continually have community meetings. We have had condo association leadership meetings, both in person and by email. We attended today Coffee with a Cop on the north side and shared more information. And as we continue to receive permitting approval on the rest of the event operations, communication will continue to be shared on the north side with the immediately neighborhood associations. We have listening sessions set up over the next 6 weeks over at the Warner Park Community Center on the event as a whole. But as I described specifically to this license, we did offer a listening session on Friday and did not have any in attendance.
Thank you. Thank you for your answer.
Alder Glenn.
I thank you for all the answers on that. Yes, I have received. I am aware of the information. There has been a lack of that getting to, and I think some with the transfer over. So I am going to be reaching out. I've already reached out to staff to be able to get some more information out directly to those that are asking. There's just been a disconnect in them receiving it. So I'm going to give it to them, to neighbors. My question is for for the liquor license is, so is it just for the 6th through that Saturday, Sunday, correct? And then it will go back, and I don't know if that's for Attorney Zillavi. Is it just for the 2 days of the tournament, correct?
It's for June 2nd through the 8th. That is the week long of the event. That is the request for the new license and the amended to the TPC Wisconsin Clubhouse. So June 2nd through 8th. At the completion of the event on June 8th, our event license would be adjusted and the TPC license would be restored as originally established.
Okay, that makes sense. I just know that the actual golfing event, the big event that was over here in this district is that weekend. There's just a week long of events. So, okay.
Yes,
Thank
June.
you.
Yeah, to help clarify, June 2nd through the 5th are small private events with the direct invitation lists. We go to the public events June 6th, 7th, and 8th. Those are the 3 primary days of public attendance with the more large scale attendance. But alcohol would be served throughout the week. For the first part of the week would be in much smaller capacity. June 6th, 7th, and 8th would be the large scale event.
And one last thing I'd like to just ask you, could you talk about, I think a lot of people don't know, I am very familiar with the work that you have done with AmFam in this, and more importantly, as someone who was in nonprofit for a long time, about the Stricter Foundation and where a lot of these go to. Can you talk a little bit about that for the group?
Yes, thank you. Correct. What's unique about PGA Tour affiliated events that all proceeds stay within your local community. So the American Family Insurance Championship, all proceeds from the event do stay in Madison. Initially, first off, we've since 2016 working with the Destination Madison, we've developed over $100 million local economic impact from the event. Professional golfers travel in from over 15 countries around the world. We have fans and volunteers in attendance from 41 different states, all descending on the greater Madison area for this event. And then specifically, all proceeds from the event do go back to area local nonprofit organizations. Since 2016, we've distributed over 1,000 charitable grants grants to the tune of nearly $20 million. Our primary charitable recipient is the American Family Children's Hospital. They receive 50% of those proceeds. The other 50% has been distributed to hundreds of local nonprofits impacting families, children's, such as Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers Big Sisters, food pantries, the River Food Pantry, and Second Harvest Food Bank, hundreds of organizations that are listed on our website. So again, the ultimate beneficiary of this event is our community, our charitable nonprofits, and having a local economic impact. That is the entire premise and purpose in the origination of the event.
Thank you, Nate, and thank you for bringing it to the north side. I mean, you're going to see how much fun it is over here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your support.
Further questions from the committee? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Is the motion just on the change of premise, or is it?
I guess.
Otherwise, there are other registrants that I can.
Oh, there are other
yeah.
registrants for the whole package. You mean?
For yes, some of the other items I can.
Okay, I think we can go. We can hear from the other registrants.
Sure. So for do we want to do just the change of premise and item 20, because item 19 is the training center, which I don't think is related to the tournament after all.
Okay. Yeah, let's do just any registrants for change of premises, and then item 20 for the liquor license for the golf course.
Okay. I think I mentioned everyone who's there for 9. So Dave, who spoke, and Brittany Pinkham is in support, not wishing to speak. But for the item 20 for the Facility Concession Services LLC, we also have a Shelby Chorney is in support, available to answer questions, and a Joanne Cantor, who is neither in support nor opposition, but wishing to speak.
Okay, we'll go with, I'm sorry, I missed the name, but the person wishing to speak.
Joanne, but I don't see Joanne registered in Zoom unless I see a Karen Gunderson as her hand up.
Okay. Karen Gunderson, for what purpose did you raise your hand?
This is Joanne Cantor, actually. It automatic, didn't let me change the name.
Okay.
So we share an account. Yeah, so I had my main question on this. Well, I did have a question because I was wondering if AmFam had done alcohol at the other events, and it sounds like they have. So I live across the street from the golf course, so this really affects me where I live. So I'm not particularly opposing this license. The part of it that I'm concerned about is under section B, number 8 there. What the part that's after June 8th, 2025, the premises will be amended to a small unused portion of the golf course. I don't understand why that's there. It seems to me that there's no reason for this to be left open-ended, and it seems to me that it ought to be just given to them for the time of this event, so that we have as little possible effect on the local residents who live here, who really are not excited about having 40,000 inebriated people in our midst. And let's limit it to that and not allow it to continue past the 8th. So that was my main concern on this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Zilovey.
Yes, I just in response to that. So the reason why they are amending it to, and it could be a 1 square foot portion of the golf course that will have this license on it after the tournament is over. The reason for that is because if they abandon the license, they're going to come back next year because the tournament is going to be at TPC again next year, and they would have to pay the $10,000 fee for the license again. And it doesn't make sense to do that just given the way this tournament operates. So the license premise that remains for them is just more of a symbol than anything else.
Thank you. Are there further questions from members of the committee? Seeing none, thank you for your comments. Who is the next registrant, Mr. Verbeek?
I think that's it. The only people who register are the people I mentioned, and that's it.
Okay. Are there any, Nate Pockras, you have your hand up. Would you like to add anything?
Yes, I was just going to acknowledge that it was acknowledged there. We have a 3-year contract with TPC Wisconsin, 2025, 2026, 2027. The dates are not established for 2026 or 2027 yet. We received those 1 year in advance. Hence the request to have the small square footage continue to remain active for the license beyond June 8th as we come back on an annual basis to have this, have all questions clarified. But ultimately, the tournament would not be executing any services again until 2026. TPC Wisconsin would revert back to their standard operating business procedures.
Thank you.
And for reference too, on the other name mentioned, Shelby Chorney is a team member of mine. So she is with the American Family Insurance Championship. Brittany Pinkham is a representative of our concessionaire partner who's been with us since 2016, safely serving alcohol to our consumers. And also just to additional piece to acknowledge, this is a daytime activity. Of the event begins at 8 a.m. and barring any weather, we are fully complete by 4 p.m. on a daily basis. Certainly weather delays can happen, but given the event occurs in daylight, I just want to acknowledge to the committee and the group, this is a daytime activity that will occur.
Thank you. Are there any, is there a motion from any member of the committee or Alder Figueroa Cole?
I'll move to recommend for we're talking about 9, right? Only at this moment?
Yeah, you could, if you wish, move 9 and 20.
20? Okay, so I move to recommend the for council to grant 9 and 20, the change of license premises and the Class B combination liquor and beer.
Okay, so the motion was to approve 9 and 20, change license premises and the liquor license for the golf course. Is there a second?
I second.
Second, I think that was Alder Glenn.
That was Alder Glenn.
I'll learn your voice quickly here. Are there any comments or points of discussion from members of the committee? Is there any objection to adopting the motion? Seeing none, the items 9 and 20 are approved. Since Dennis is right here, is everyone okay if we take up item 19 at this time, which is the new license at 5105 North Sherman? Seeing no objection, we'll take up item 19. And is Dennis registered for this one?
I represent Cherokee Park Inc. I do have Dennis Tiziani with me, the owner and president, in the room with me on the call.
Yeah, so Dave is registered in support, available to answer questions, and Karen Gunderson Karen Gunderson's registered in opposition, not wishing to speak, and Joanne Cantor is registered in opposition, wishing to speak.
Okay, so sorry, who wants to talk or is able to talk?
Dave is here with the application.
Okay, Dave, you can just tell us a little bit about the request here.
This is a new building in process. Hopefully everything will be done and completed and approved for occupancy by the end of May. The liquor license is for this new building, which is part of our property with Cherokee Park Inc. It is a private club, so it's a member-only facility. It's not a public opportunity for people to come in and out. The primary purpose of this building is to provide golf lessons, golf instruction, and club fitting for our members at the club. We just wanted to have alcohol available to those who wanted to enjoy alcohol while they were doing this.
Thank you. Are there any questions from members of the committee?
This is a $600 deal, not a $10,000. Okay.
Seeing none. Are there any other registrants wishing to speak? I don't.
Yes, Joanne Cantor is registered in opposition, wishing to speak.
Okay, Joanne Cantor. Go ahead.
There we go. Yes, I did look over this, and as I say, I live across the street. I live on Gulf Parkway. I'm across the street from the country club, and I'm on the other side of Sherman Avenue from where this new building is going to be. Have concerns about spreading out the alcohol use. I'm not having concerns about it being at the main clubhouse. I understand that. That's their private land. This new place is put out, first of all, as a learning center. It's put out as being part of the Steve Stricker American Family Insurance Foundation. It's building strong families and healthy kids. And I don't really understand where we're going to be improving everybody's performance. And I do actually imagine there might be children there, because there are children right by the country club here that are getting some kinds of activities that go on. I don't see the need to have another place to have alcohol. If people want the alcohol, they should go to the clubhouse and they can get it. I don't want people that are under the influence, even more of them, driving either vehicles, golf courts, or walking across Sherman Avenue. And I also am opposed to the fact that the license application is asking for hours from 7 a.m. in the morning to 7 p.m. at night. And I don't understand, to me, if it was to be granted, I would think that would want to be a much more restricted period. But as somebody who lives here and who's had, I would say, found very little communication with the country club and the golf course in the past nearly 6 years I've been here, I would question whether this is a needed use of a Class B alcohol license. So that's my input. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the registrant?
I'm already, oh, what?
I don't see any questions from members of the committee.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm off.
Thank you, Joanne. Is there a motion? Are there any other registrants? No. Is there a motion from the committee? Alder Glenn.
Can I quick go back and ask a question? I was just looking at the license, and it shows for it when the breakdown is 10% alcohol, 10% food, 80% other. So it's a license, but so there's also food and other at this new building that you're going to be building?
That gets back to my original point of the primary purpose of this building is for lesson instruction and for club fitting. Those are estimated numbers, so the majority of the business would come from revenue of golf lessons and club fitting, hence the 80%.
Thank you.
Any further questions for the applicant? All right, committee, how would you like to handle this?
Oh, this will be my first time trying to figure out how to handle this. I
What would you like to do, Alder?
What was, like, can I ask one question first? What was the other people, how many people called in? And can I just ask Dave one more question? Have you heard any other feedback from community on this new building?
No, not for this. No. We do try to engage with the community as a whole. We try to send out emails for various events through the various condo and neighborhood associations. We've mailed things out, inviting them to the club. So we always want people to check out the club and be involved with it. But for this particular item, no, I haven't received any feedback on this, negative or positive.
And where does this new building sit in relation to the course in Sherman? Will it
It's
sit?
when you're heading north on Sherman towards the clubhouse, is to the east, to the right. It's behind St. Peter Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
For our existing ranges, we already have one building there. We're just adding a new building to it.
Okay. I moved to pass it.
Thank you. Alder Glenn moves approval, or moves, this is how we would know, how we usually say it, but I really, you could say it however you'd like, I guess, as long as I know what you mean.
I moved to approval it.
So Alder Glenn moves approval. Is there a second? Is that Ms. Farley?
Yeah, second.
Ms. Farley seconds. Are there any comments from members of the committee? Ms. Farley, is that a hand? Nope. Seeing no comments, are there any objections to the motion? Seeing none, the motion is adopted. Public hearing new license for TPC Wisconsin is approved. Next on our agenda what was it? Back to 10. Oh, item 10 is a 21 plus entertainment license for Hotbox LLC doing business as FYA SYDE Kitchen.
I think it's pronounced Fireside.
Fireside Kitchen. Okay, thank you. Are there any registrants for this one?
Yep, we have two registrants. We have a Nicholas Davies that's in support, not wishing to speak, and a Xavier Fuller, who I believe is the agent in support, available to answer questions.
Xavier Fuller, could you tell us whether you were able to get in touch with the neighborhood association, the police district captain, and the alder who represents that area?
Hello.
We can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Yes, we did get in contact with the neighborhood. But we did contact the police department also, and we are just waiting on the conditional use. We're working on it.
Okay. Thank you. Can all the members hear that? Any member having a hard time hearing them? Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your business and what you plan to do?
Okay, so here at Fireside Kitchen, we are operating a Jamaican cuisine, but we do have a diverse menu. We have some American classics too. So in addition to the jerk chicken and the curry goat, the rice and beef and oxtails, we have smash burgers. We have some grilled cheese. We have cheese curds. We have some signature cocktails. So we have a full service bar and a full service restaurant.
Thank you. And what kind of entertainment are you planning to have?
For entertainment, we're seeking the entertainment license really to cover all the grounds, just in case we are having a DJ coming in to help on a few nights that we might do some games night, like bingo or trivia. And we were told that we need to get the entertainment license to make sure we are in compliance. So we applied for it. So it's not to like do a club site setting party type of thing. It's really just to have a DJ every now and then, and we wanted to make sure we're in compliance.
Thank you. Are there any questions from members of the committee? Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. Welcome back to the committee. You were just with us at our meeting last month, correct?
Yes, we were.
Yes. And we received a communication from the Vilas Neighborhood Association that you were able to visit with them at their meeting last week, correct?
Yes, we did go to the last meeting. Yep.
Great. And my only other question then is, they said that at the meeting you agreed to a condition similar to the one that the committee approved last month related to the alcohol, that the entertainment would also cease at 11 p.m. with the exception of New Year's Eve. Is that correct? That
Yeah.
You're okay with a condition like that?
Yes, we are.
Wonderful. Thanks very much and good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, we have met with them, and we have agreed on season the sales and also with the music, entertainment cutting off at 11 also. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks again and good luck with the conditional use permit process.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks, Chair.
Alder Figueroa Cole.
I lost my screen that I was reading. Here, hold on, give me a second, please.
Alder Glenn, would you?
I found it.
Oh, okay.
So
Go ahead.
so I looked at the prior license and it had a capacity of 100, which matches the one here. But it also says that implies that they have outdoor access. It says the original license indicates that the restaurant has 69 seats, tables and bar, and alcohol sold indoors only. Does that mean that they have space outside, and will the entertainment be also held outside? Can someone clarify that for me?
We won't be doing any seating or entertainment on the outside.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you. Alder Glenn.
Yes, on the application, it says plan to control supervised patrons under 21 of age. So is this a restaurant? Because it shows like wristbands will be provided for each person of drinking age. Only those wearing those wristbands allowed to drink, and I think of like a restaurant. And maybe if you could explain it better, like I think of a restaurant, I sit at a table, my son doesn't drink, I order drinks. Why are the wristbands? Is this a more, that feels more of like a club scene? So I just like some verification of the difference.
Okay, so that is for if we're having an event, it's to differentiate between the age. That's how we would recognize the difference between the age for the drinking.
So a safeguard, so like a double safeguard. So you're saying like a table comes in, and you're having an event, you would give out wristbands so that you'd have that kind of double protection of checking IDs plus wristbands for staff.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Alder Figueroa Cole.
That was from earlier, but I do appreciate the response. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions from members of the committee? If there are none, then a motion would be in order. And if there are any questions for staff, that you could ask those right now also. Alder Revere.
I'm prepared to make a motion. Were there questions of staff?
I'm not seeing any,
Okay,
so go ahead.
very good. Then I move to grant with the condition that entertainment shall cease by 11 p.m. nightly with the exception of New Year's Eve.
Second.
So moved by Alder Revere, seconded by Alder Figueroa Cole to grant with the condition that
Entertainment shall cease by 11 p.m. nightly with the exception of New Year's Eve.
Yes. Are there any objections to that motion? Seeing none, the motion is adopted. Thank you, Xavier. We'll move on to item number 11, 21 plus entertainment for Hotel Indigo, Madison, Palette. And does this go together with?
It doesn't.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
okay. Is there any registrants for this item?
There are Nicholas Davies, again, registered in support, not wishing to speak. Zachary Gray is in support, available to answer questions. And Zachary is in Zoom.
Hi, Zachary. Did you make the 3 required notifications? And
Yes, we made the 3 notifications. We had a meeting with the Marquette Neighborhood Association, and we had notified former Alder Rummel previously, and I spoke to, or he rather left me a message the other day, the police district that giving approval for this.
Okay, thank you. Tell us about your request.
Yeah, and listening to the other applicants, I may have, with the 21 plus, may be too restrictive for us, but we're looking to simply bring in an artist every Wednesday evening from 4:30 to 6:30, and we want to be able to amplify if needed to be seated either in our bar lounge area or on the exterior patio facing East Wash, both inside and outside depending on weather. This would play from 4:30 to 6:30. And just in our restaurant area off the main hotel lobby.
Thank you. And when you say it may be too restrictive, why? Is that because
Thinking of the 21 and older, speaking to one of the committee members who made the comment of a restaurant, we obviously want to be welcoming. It's not a club atmosphere. If someone under 18 were there, we would ID them for alcoholic beverages, but not necessarily to enter the premise.
Right, and as long as you're a restaurant, then people of all ages can enter.
Right.
So the 21 plus is just, well, you should be fine. Are there any questions from members of the committee? Alder Glenn.
So yeah, on his application, I see that plan to control and supervise patrons under 21 of age, so perform checks and refuse service. So would we be able to somehow friendly amend that? I know Revere had talked about it earlier with our different one of like that they still could participate in the restaurant, but they would be refused alcohol or something.
I don't believe that would be necessary. Let me try to explain this because it comes up from time to time. This type of application is named as such because there are places that are not restaurants that there are places that don't permit people under the age of 21 because they're not restaurants. And those type of places would apply for this type of entertainment license if they don't want to, they don't intend to allow people of ages 18, 19, and 20 into the premises. But people of all ages are permitted in a restaurant anyway. So it's really doesn't matter whether they apply for this entertainment license or the 18+ entertainment license. And for restaurants like what this is, the 21+ shouldn't be seen as a restriction, more so just the name of the application. And if anyone on the committee or staff would like to clarify that or weigh in, feel free.
Yeah, I'll say that it does get confusing, the 18+ versus 21+. I think the people who would mostly use the 18+ would be a tavern who typically can't have unsupervised folks who are under 21, but it allows them opportunity to hold events for 18, 19, and 20-year-olds to come in and be wristbanded and such. Whereas everyone else, restaurants, taverns, that operating as normal can hold a 21+ license, and there doesn't need to be any restrictions about allowing people in that normally wouldn't be in. Restaurants can still have people in that are unsupervised, under 21, and then taverns folks can still have their patrons in that are 21 and over, and that's just sort of the entertainment license that applies. So really, 21+, it sounds like it's only for people who are over 21, but for a restaurant who has like little events, like little bands playing or dances and things like that, a 21+ is fine, and they don't need to have any conditions about other people that are underage to be in there.
Thank you very much for the education.
Yep.
It's always good to practice explaining that from time to time, for me at least. All right, are there any questions from members of the committee to the applicant? If not, are there any other registrants wishing to speak?
There are not.
Okay. In that case, we are ready for a motion.
Motion to adopt.
Alder Glenn moves to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Verveer. Are there any objections to the motion? Seeing none, the motion is adopted. Thank you, Zachary and committee. Moving on, we are on item number 12, Wisconsin Masonic Center Foundation. Are there any registrants for this item?
Brenda Koth is registered and present. Yep.
Hi.
Hi, were you able to get in touch with the neighborhood, the alder of the district and the police captain?
I called all of them. I didn't receive messages back except for the captain, Kip. I believe he left a message on our answering machine. Said he was in favor of the license.
Okay.
He didn't see any problems. I didn't hear back from anyone else.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any, or would you like to tell us about what you're doing here?
Sure. Our license has always been held by a secondary party. Esquire Club actually had the licensing last year. And then when they went out of business, we decided as Masonic people, me as a director, to try to take over the license, just because we didn't want to find ourselves in a situation like this ever again. We've had venues there for years. I think it's been at least 30, but somebody else has always held the license. So I'm the executive director, and I talked to it's ran on a board. I talked to the board about obtaining the license, and they were greatly in favor of it. So that's why I'm here today.
Thank you. Are there questions from members of the committee? So you just host private events there?
Yeah, so we have anywhere from quinceañeras to weddings to, we had a lot of things this last week. We had the lieutenant governor there it was the Social Workers Association for Social Workers Advocacy Day. We had lobbyists in the building this week. Usually the alcohol, whenever we have alcohol, we always have at least two security guards present that are usually armed. For every event that we have alcohol, we have security guards available on the premises. And it's just to ensure the safety of the building as well as anybody else. So our events usually go till 12 o'clock, the latest, and could go up to 1 if they pay a little bit extra. But most of our events end at 12 just because of our neighbors next door.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Alder Verveer.
Thank you. Hi, Brenda.
Hi.
First, I apologize. I wasn't able to return your call the other day. I've been under the weather.
That's okay.
You might be able to tell from my voice.
Yeah.
In any event, obviously, as you know, I'm sorry for what you've been going through with the topsy-turvy of your license holder going out of business abruptly a couple months ago now, I guess it's been. My main question of you is, when I reviewed your application, and I don't know if the staff in the city clerk's office helped you with this or not, but I would have thought that we ask you to list the board of the Masonic Center, that information would be included on the application as opposed to just your name. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're an employee of the Masonic Center, correct? You're not an actual Mason who's on the board
Correct.
of directors, right?
I attend all the board meetings because I am the director, so I'm at every board meeting because I have to be there because I am the director, but I am not, you are correct, I am not a Mason.
And so I don't want to delay your license, and I know you and others have lost sleep over the loss of your license.
Yeah.
With Craig Spalding going out of business. But for question number 17 on the application, I believe we're going to need to have that completed.
Okay.
I don't want to have you come back to a future meeting or delay things. So I think at this point, I'd like to, Chair, if it's in order, impose on our legal counsel, Assistant City Attorney McReynolds, to weigh in and see if she thinks we can hopefully facilitate moving this along, with the understanding that we'll have a more complete application. And I presume that also require backgrounds done by the police department on the board members.
Yeah, that
The
should have
officer.
happened. So, I guess, Jim, could you work with Brenda to get that information and send the information for background checks as quickly as possible to MPD? I think it's possible to continue. I'm trying to think of, Jim, when will this go before council?
May 6th? Yeah, May 6th.
How fast do you typically get back background checks?
It depends. Sometimes it'd be quicker than less than a week. It kind of depends on who's getting background checked and if there's anything in it. If it's free, I think it's pretty quick, but that is dependent on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. I think it's possible, Alder Verveer, to proceed and maybe include in a motion. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. I think you could just proceed, and then if a background check gets flagged, we could bring that up at council.
Yeah, refer it back to the ALRC at council if there's a concern by MPD,
Correct.
was my thought. Yeah, thank you, Amber. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Nope, that works for me.
I was also going to ask you, Attorney McReynolds, that you obviously, well, I should say obvious for those of us that have served on the committee before today, do a very thorough job reviewing the applications in advance of our meetings. I also noted in question number 11 is incomplete as well. Did you find other areas that we need to update this application that we could share with the applicant at this point?
I can take a closer look through it now, and see if there's anything that should be updated. Yeah. Just looking through it, I don't see anything. I do think that like right now, which number was it that you just said? 11? Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
just 11 filling in the name of
Oh,
the
right. I
licensee.
mean, that's something, Jim, you could fill that in, amend that, because we know who the prior
Went out of business.
license went to. You know, it was Spalding. So, yeah. But that would have been helpful to flag that for people to know kind of what was going on here. But yeah, that can be added in.
You saw no other concerns, correct?
I did not, but I'll just take
good.
I'll take a double look here.
Yeah, and I apologize. I didn't realize all the board members would have to go through background checks. So, like I said, this is my first time ever doing this. So,
Yes,
but
yeah.
I did actually go in person though, just so you know, and I had them look over all my paperwork, just because it was my first time ever doing this. So, just to hopefully not have any of this happen, but I guess I didn't realize that at all.
I appreciate that. I know it's your first time, and I know that we've had several conversations as you've reached out to me. Even though I'm not actually the alder of your district, my district's across the street. I've been happy to try to help you and the Masonic Center get through this unfortunate chapter in the history with the license being abruptly ending for you. By the way, let me ask, were you able to secure any sort of provisional license as the Esquire Club did on North Sherman Avenue, thanks to Assistant City Attorney Zillavy's intervention?
So
them?
the only thing that we were able to do is, Craig actually signed over his licensing, so we didn't have to buy a new license, which saved us a lot of money. So he surrendered his license, which took a little bit of doing to get him to do that, but I was able to at least do that in the interim. A lot of our events don't have alcohol unless we have like a quinceanera or something there. And that season is happening very soon. So for most of our events, we do a lot of corporate events during the week now, which is great. But like this week, there's no alcohol during the week usually, because we have the Children's Dyslexia Center there. So whenever we do have alcohol, they don't have school because we won't have children in the building when there's alcohol.
Yeah, thank you.
Attorney McReynolds, or were you finished, Alder Verveer?
Yeah, I was just going to say I'll yield to Assistant City Attorney McReynolds.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just a couple other things on the application since Alder Verveer asked. Normally we might want a more detailed description of the premises. So I just want to ask a couple questions of the applicant. You say that alcohol can be served in 7 rooms in the building. And then it says the main rooms are the ballroom, auditorium, and John
Caitlin room.
John Caitlin room.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's a map included. So are you asking for the entire building as your premise or just certain rooms? And then while you're thinking about that for Jim, do we have a description of the premise from the previous applicant that you can pull up?
Yeah, I can find it.
Okay, thanks. So yeah, for the applicant then, would you describe like where you plan to have alcohol in the building?
It's usually always in the building, like I said, the auditorium, usually outside the auditorium, sometimes inside it if we do We've been doing an Edgar Allan Poe event now, so we're actually having alcohol inside the auditorium. And then that John Caitlin room. It's generally not in the lodge rooms, but I would like to be able to have alcohol in the lodge rooms if need be, just for certain events, because I know I've had like the GOP reach out and wanted to have alcohol in some of those rooms. So I would like to be able to have them in those rooms as well.
Okay, and where do you plan to store the alcohol?
It's in a locked liquor room, right off the ballroom.
And then question 25 on the application, and if you don't have it in front of you, that's fine. It's about how much percentage of your business is for alcohol, food, and other. And here you've got 10% alcohol, 90% food, and then nothing for other. Generally, that would be, other would be like all of your other income from rentals and things like that. And then, so your other percentages would be much less. I'm not very concerned about that because I think everyone here kind of knows what's going on.
Yeah.
But I think you could update those numbers with Jim in the clerk's office.
Okay.
If you don't have those on you now, you could update those after this meeting.
Okay, I just kind of went off because I asked about that because I wasn't sure really what the percentage was. I mean, we don't do alcohol at a lot of our events unless it is a quinceanera or a wedding, and those, or sorority events. But those are only hit and miss because a lot of sororities won't have alcohol at their events. So I guess I wasn't clear on what to put on that.
Yeah, that I don't think this is any reflection on you. So
newbie, what can I say? It'll be better next
these
time.
are things that we should have caught in our office. So all right, that's all I have. Thank you.
According to like the previous two licenses, that I think are pretty much identical. The premises is ballroom, party rooms, library, auditorium, and first floor and basement. 10,000 square feet, liquor stored in cooler and storeroom near the kitchen.
Okay, so can I ask the applicant if that is the same as what you're asking for, if you're asking for anything different?
We never have alcohol in the library, so I don't know why that would be in there. I've never did alcohol in the library. It's red carpet, and I don't think I would ever do liquor in there. It's where all the Masonic stuff is, and I wouldn't want anything to get wrecked in that room, so definitely not the library. But the lodge rooms, I would like to be included in that if possible.
Okay. Jim, would you be able to change that on the application, and then as the applicant's saying, include the lodge rooms?
So Attorney McReynolds, I think I've been to an event where where people brought beverages into like the corridors. So wouldn't is that typically allowed, or
Beverages into where? I'm sorry.
into the hallways and things like that?
I guess the John Caitlin room, not generally, because we usually have, well, it would probably be like the hallway to the auditorium because we do a satellite bar out there. So right before the auditorium, sometimes we do a satellite bar out there, as well as the John Caitlin room will put a satellite bar right inside the space. But there would be probably for the auditorium, he is probably correct because I wasn't thinking about that. There would be that hallway right before the auditorium if we did have a satellite bar there. We would want to be able to sell alcohol there.
In the premises description I mentioned, is the John Caitlin room, it wasn't mentioned in that premises, but is that one of the rooms that I mentioned? Is it a party room or is it a?
Yes, we
ballroom?
usually do functions in there, and it It leads into the auditorium.
Okay.
So there's a hallway that'll go directly into the auditorium.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess in reference to the board members, is that, I know I'll work with Jim obviously with that, but I just need to send over names and address information for all those people?
I
on
can
the board?
email you a link to the background check form.
Okay.
And we'll have to have all of them fill out the background check form and
Okay.
give a copy of their ID.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Are there any further questions from members of the committee? I think you are, you can sit down if you
Okay.
like. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are you satisfied with the application corrections? Okay. Are there any other registrants for this item?
No, there are not. Or wait, hold on. Let me double check that. Nicholas Davies has registered on the entertainment license application in support, not wishing to speak.
Okay. Are there any registrants wishing to speak on the entertainment license application?
That was it. And-
Okay.
And no one else on the alcohol license. Except
Excellent. Members of the committee, what is your preference? You have an option to move to approve both the new license and the entertainment license, items 12 and 13, if you wish.
And it sounds like maybe conditionally pending approval of background checks on all members.
Thank you. Alder Verveer.
Yeah, I move to grant agenda items 12 and 13 contingent on the application being complete with a successful review of backgrounds by the Madison Police Department.
Alder Verveer moves to grant items 12 and 13 contingent on the complete application and successful review of backgrounds by Madison Police. Is there a second?
Second.
I knew you were
s-
going to unmute at the same time because I saw her unmute, but I second.
Second by Alder Glenn. Is there any objection? Seeing none, these items are granted. Thank you, Brenda. Moving on, we are on item 15, new license for Glow Glue. Are there any registrants for this item?
Yep, Megan Hecox is registered and in Zoom.
Okay, Megan. Thank you for being here. Were you able to discuss your application with the alder of the district, the neighborhood association, the police captain?
Yep, the police captain Blackamore was contacted on March 18th, and he replied on the 19th that there were no objections. I followed up with the DMNA Neighborhood Association on March 17th, as well as April 2nd. I've been in continuous communication with my alder, Regina Vitiver. And I also held a public information session on April 9th to no objection.
Excellent. Would you like to tell us about your business?
Glue glue, you pronounced it correctly there. No one else does. It's a French word, but it's meant to be a small neighborhood global bistro. There are about 37 seats there. The food menu will be small plates, shareable plates. Alcohol will emphasize wine pairings. I want to have a small selection of craft beers, as well as an extensive list of non-alcoholic options, of course. No liquor at all. Let's see. I've been through the food inspection and was approved, and I have a food manager. Yeah, so this is an earlier sort of restaurant sort of situation. I also am item number 16 because I was hoping to have an entertainment license as well. So I don't know if you'd like me to speak to that at all.
Yes, please. Talk about that.
Yeah, so what I'm hoping is to have primarily unamplified musicians because it's a smaller dining room, but to have sort of 6 to 8, 6:30 to 8:30, primarily acoustic music during dinner. But some musicians, it's hard if you are trying to sing over a guitar, so you might want to amplify a voice a little bit. So just kind of managing levels is the intent for that application. But with music ending early, no ticketed events, totally sit down. Sort of for folks who want to enjoy dinner and some music and go home and go to bed on time.
Thank you. Are there any questions for members of the committee? And how long have you been in, or have you been in the food and beverage business before?
Yeah. So actually, I have a master's, an MBA in wine management, a French master's degree, and so I've been in the industry for quite some time. And this is sort of a shift from consulting with restaurants and bars to going into my own brick and mortar. I also have hosted a lot of events in my life, more than 1 decade of that.
Excellent.
Also, I'll just note that I live in the area. I live 3 blocks away and I'm raising my kids in the area. So sort of my impact on the neighborhood is really important to me.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you. Are there any questions from members of the committee? Are there any questions for staff? Are there any, is there a motion?
A motion to approve.
Move to approve by Alder Glenn
Second.
and seconded by Alder Figueroa Cole. And just to clarify, is this for item 15 or 15 and 16?
I'm fine for approving 15 and 16.
Okay, so the motion is to approve item 15 and 16, moved by Alder Glenn, seconded by Alder Figueroa Cole. Is there any objection? Seeing none, items 15 and 16 are approved. Thank you, Megan.
I just want to note that Nicholas Davies and Harald Kleems are both in support and both not wishing to speak for the entertainment license.
Thank you. Moving on. Item 17, sauna day. Are there any registrants for this item wishing to speak?
Yeah, we have a Jason Ritzenthaler is registered in support, available to answer questions. And then for the entertainment license, Nicholas Davies is in support, not wishing to speak. But Jason is with the establishment, with the applicant, and I believe in person.
Oh, hello. You can come on up. And did you make the required notifications?
I did.
Excellent. And then what was any feedback?
Yes, actually, just because of the timing, the Neighborhood Association sent their letter of approval this evening, right before our meeting.
Okay, yep.
It wasn't in the record, so I thought I would mention it.
I did get that. And
And that was for both wine license and entertainment license.
excellent. Tell us about your business.
So we are a day spa featuring a thermal bathing circuit, saunas, steam room, cold plunge, Japanese soaking tubs. So really a space for the community to come together, utilize the traditions of bathing that have been around for thousands of years, and bring it to Madison and really try to create a community.
Excellent. Are there any questions from ALRC members? Attorney McReynolds.
Thank you, Chair. A question for the applicant is, I just wanted to confirm, are you only asking for wine license?
Yes.
Okay. So a weird fluke of our ordinance is that if you only have a Class C wine license, then you actually don't need an entertainment license. So I don't know what to do with this, Jim. If we do take them up both at the same time, can you still, I don't know that we can approve an entertainment license.
Can always place it on file if they don't need it.
Okay. Yeah. So that's just a weird fluke. We need an entertainment license if you've got a Class B. So sorry you applied for the entertainment license and didn't need to. But I just wanted to confirm you only wanted wine. All right. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
The good news is since he applied for the alcohol license and the entertainment license, he did not have to pay any additional for the publication fee. You only have to pay $100 for the entertainment license if you apply for them separately because it's a separate notice. But then it saves $300 annually for the entertainment license.
Love it.
Are there any further questions from members of the committee? Attorney McReynolds, is your hand still up or is it up again? That answers that. And then the whole, so the premises is the entire building except for the sauna, steam room, locker room, and pool deck. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, we have roughly about 5,000 square feet of commercial space in the building we're in. And obviously we don't folks having alcoholic beverages in the saunas and steam rooms and cold plunge, pool deck, which would be against pool code. So, yeah.
Further questions? Any questions for staff? Let's just take up, I think we're ready to have a motion, but we'll take up items 17 and 18 separately this time because this is different than before. By the way, thanks for putting these together this time.
We had a lot of entertainment licenses together, so I figured it'd be easier that way.
Is there a motion from
No motion yet. What? Oh, Mr. Nobody put motion.
Alder Revere?
Move to grant.
Motion to grant by Alder Revere.
Second.
Second by Alder Glenn. Any discussion? Any objection to granting item 17? Seeing none, item 17 is granted. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then my recommendation for 18 would be to, if you place on file, do it without prejudice.
I think Alder Revere.
I move to place on file without prejudice.
Moved by Alder Revere, on file without prejudice. Is there a second?
Sorry, I couldn't get unmuted. Second.
Seconded by Alder Glenn. Any objection? Seeing none, it is placed on file without prejudice. Next up, item 21, Izakaya Kuriyama. Hugo Liang?
Yes, Kuriyama.
Kuriyama. Great. And you're registered, right?
Yes. Yep.
And I know we spoke about this some weeks ago, but did you talk to the police captain and the alder?
Yeah.
You did? Okay. Tell us about your request for an entertainment license.
So we're having beer and wine at the moment, and a lot of customer are loving to have some whiskey tasting from Japan. So this is why we want to apply for the liquor license, and we are doing great lately, having a lot of feedback from customers saying we have really good foods and fresh foods. And after pandemic, there's not much dining restaurants anymore. So we are one of them and make them really happy.
Excellent. Thank you. And I did say entertainment license, I meant Class B combination liquor and beer license. Any questions from members of the committee? Alder Glenn.
Yeah, I was just looking at the application. I see where you all are located. I'm happy to see that building back in use after so much, and to have some awesome food. Question I have is, it was saying about 63 indoor, 15 outdoor.
Yes.
So what would the outdoor look like?
The outdoor will be Purely Dubai restaurant. They have it like outdoor seats, and it's right in front of the restaurant. They have like about 15 seats over there, like about
Okay,
like
so you're talking about like how they set up the mall where restaurants sit out front.
right. And we also in process of applying the city of use for that space right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from committee members? And Hugo, you're primarily, you intend to stay a restaurant at all times, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Most of the time, yeah.
I'm just going to check. Is there a condition on?
The condition was on as long as we sell food at the same time we sell alcohol, and that's the whole purpose of my business too.
Okay.
We want to offer food more than anything else.
Excellent. Yeah. Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. Welcome back. I'm glad to hear that business is going well for you.
Thank you.
My question is about the capacity. When you were last with us, you requested different capacities, both inside and outside, than you're requesting in the most recent application. Could you confirm that the numbers on this application indeed are accurate ones that you worked with city building inspection and fire department on?
Yeah, so we adjust the little seats a little bit right now. So before that was the capacity, but right now we updated the 63 for indoor and 15 for outdoor.
Okay. I see on your current license it's 48 indoors and 20 outdoors, but it turns out that you were able to legally have more inside, but not as many outside in the Sidewalk Cafe.
What's the capacity for outside? Because we try to set up the table, I think 15 was pretty much like there's not a lot of spacing. So,
Well, I'm just looking at your application for when you were last before us in October.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, you were with us in November of 2024. You applied in October. And at that time, it was capacity outside of 20 persons and inside of 48 persons.
Yeah, so at the time, that outdoor wasn't really set up. So right now we try to set it up. So to me, I think 15 is ideally people don't sit too close to each other. And for indoor, we can manage the seats a little bit and to fit more people. So this is why I put 63 right now. Like if it's in a scenario that is fully packed, with the bars and everything, and that's the number that we come up with.
That sounds good. Thank you for your explanation.
Yeah, thank you.
Further questions from the committee?
Chair, if there are no further questions, I'm prepared to make a motion then.
Are there any other registrants?
There are not.
Okay, Alder Verveer, you can make a motion.
Thank you. I move to grant with the following two conditions consistent with the current license. Number one, establishment shall meet the definition of a restaurant as defined by Madison General Ordinance 38.02 at all times. Number two, establishment shall have food available during operating hours.
Okay, Alder Verveer moves that the license be granted with the conditions that the establishment shall meet the definition of a restaurant as defined by MGO 38.02 at all times, and the establishment shall have food available during operating hours. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Figueroa Cole. Are there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, is there any objection to the motion? Seeing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you for being here. Next on our agenda is item 22, public hearing, new license for Esquire Club. Is someone registered for this item?
I'm not seeing a registration in here. I tried to go back to look, and it looks like I may not have sent an email to this applicant to connect to the meeting. So I don't know if the committee wants to take a recess, and I can try calling the applicant to see if they can connect.
I think that's fine. Is there any objection to a brief recess to call the applicant? Seeing none, we'll let you know. This will be very brief. We'll let you know when we're back. Okay. Thank you, committee. We are waiting to hear back from John Kavanaugh, right?
Correct.
And, but in the meantime, Jim, do they have a provisional license?
They do. So Spalding had taken over this location, and obviously we've talked about that with the Masonic Center. Mr. Kavanaugh previously had a license at this location, has decided to reapply, and is currently operating on a provisional license at that under the same operation as he had prior to giving up the license for Craig Spalding to operate that location.
So if we're unable to get a hold of him tonight, I mean, how is he going to be covered until, we can hear from him next month?
Let's see when the license is issued. It looks like the provisional license will expire on May 6th, which is at with the council meeting that this application will go before.
Okay. I think it would probably make sense if we did the rest of our agenda while we wait to hear back from him. So that would be the police report and the clerk's report. Is there any motion to from members of the committee or any comments or questions? So to make it more obvious, if a member of the committee were to move to table this to the end of the agenda, then we could, or maybe we wouldn't need to do that. Maybe we can just come back to it. What do you think, Jim? You just come back to it?
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's move on to the report of the Madison Police. Alder Figueroa Cole. It looks like you were gonna.
I was gonna table if that's what you needed, but we'll move on. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move to the Madison Police report. Captain Hartman, do you have anything to report?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Report of the city clerk's office, Mr. Verbeek.
Yeah, so we have, we're in the middle of renewal period. The initial deadline for all of our licenses were due on yesterday. And so any renewal application form submitted today or later until April 30th would incur a $250 late fee. And then no renewal applications are allowed after April 30th. Any licensee that fails to renew before the April 30th deadline will have to apply for a new license to then continue operation of alcohol sales. Right now we have 34 Class B licenses that have not submitted renewal paperwork and 8 Class A licenses that have not submitted renewal paperwork. And for entertainment, we have 12 that have not submitted renewal paperwork. But some of those we know are going out of business, so that's kind of mixed in there. Our office has been diligently trying to reach out to contact folks. We had in our initial mailing at the beginning of March, verbiage in our letter, as well as a separate sheet that explains the $250 late filing fee for renewal applications. And then we've also followed up with phone calls and emails leading up to yesterday to try to make sure that people are getting their stuff in on time. And then I think that's all I have regarding that. The only thing I'd like to talk about is I had sent an email to the non-alders on the committee a week or two ago. I held off for alders because obviously I knew we were getting appointments yesterday and I didn't know who would be on it. But the ALRC at around renewal time has in the past held a separate meeting from our regular meeting for any renewals that are being separated for consideration. And in the last 2 years, we haven't had to hold a separate meeting because we haven't had that many separations. But indications from the attorney's office are we will have a number of them that would require a separate meeting. So my hope is that we could try to get something on the books, preferably tonight, but if not tonight, I can just include the alders in the doodle poll. But I will say I've only had 2 voting members respond so far. But our regular meeting is scheduled for May 21st. So I was looking to try to schedule something that final week in May. So far on the doodle poll, as far as voting members and the police district captain, or I'm sorry, Captain Hartman, it looks like Thursday and possibly that Wednesday, the Thursday the 22nd, which is the day after ALRC, but also in that next week that I talked about, that Wednesday the 28th and Thursday the 29th look like days that would also work for a majority of the people that completed the doodle poll already. So I don't know if we're okay agreeing to a date. I do have to make sure I can book a room and then also send out notifications to any licensees that are getting separated to make them aware of this separation and their appearance being required for that.
Alder Figueroa Cole.
Thank you. In addition to have the date of the 22 and the 28th, do you have time? The time of the meeting?
I was thinking around 5:30, the same time as we usually meet for night meetings.
Well, if you need extra people, I'm available on the 22nd.
22nd, okay.
Can I interrupt for a second from the Tavern League?
Yeah.
John Kavanaugh did call me. Apparently he's been on a Zoom, but didn't know how to respond. Is there a number he could call in to you?
Oh, I don't know if he registers not wishing to speak, but if he registers as wishing to speak or not wishing to speak, but able to answer questions, he should get a link that would then allow him to connect to the meeting in a way that we can see him there.
Okay. Well, is there a way to get that done before the meeting ends here?
Yeah, if he just re-registers.
All right. So, and the website should show him how to do that.
Yeah, I sent the link to him on the registration link.
Okay. Now, not sure if I still got him on hold or not here, but I'm going to try to switch over to his line and tell him to look for that.
Okay. Thanks, James.
Okay.
So I heard Alder Figueroa Cole can do the 22nd. Is Alder Revere, Alder Glenn, or Miss Farley? If
I'm available the 22nd also.
okay, Miss Farley, Alder Revere.
I currently have a city committee meeting on the 22nd at 4:45, but sometimes those meetings are canceled. So I just can't give you 100% assurance
Okay.
that I'm available tonight. So again, that would be May 22nd. I could meet comfortably probably 6:30 or later on May 22nd, but 5:30. We can't confirm this early out.
Sure.
I am currently wide open the following Thursday, May 29th, Jim.
Okay.
And I also, and then the other date you asked us about was Wednesday, May 28th, correct?
Correct.
I have another city meeting at 5 o'clock that night that also sometimes a committee is canceled due to lack of agenda items. That's the vending oversight committee. So I could meet later that night for sure, but 5:30 at this point, I don't know if I'm needed for quorum for the other committee or not. So 29th for sure, 22nd and 28th for sure. Later in the evening, 5:30, unknown at this point.
Alders Glen and Figueroa Cold, is the 29th work at all, or?
Sorry, which days were you asking about, Jim?
What?
You're asking about the 22nd. Is that a Thursday or is that not available?
Initially, I was asked about the 22nd. Now I was wondering about the 29th because Alder Revere may have issues on the 22nd and 28th.
Okay. The 29th is a Friday?
It's a Thursday.
Thursday? I should be able to make any Thursday at night.
Okay.
I'm available at 29 also.
Okay.
Also, and
Awesome. Okay. So then I will, that gives me at least 6 members can do it. So I will schedule the 29th at 5:30 and start working on booking a room and notifying the applicants. Thank you very much for working this out. Does anyone have any questions about other licensing things I touched on or anything for the clerk's office?
Jim, while we wait, are you scheduling time with Alder Glenn and I to go over the PowerPoint that you sent?
Yeah, I can schedule that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Revere, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. While we are perhaps filibustering here, waiting to hear from John Kavanaugh, I do have a question for you, Jim. I actually was dining at a licensed premise a couple weeks ago and was trying to remember what conditions we placed on their license as a result of some public safety concerns and in terms of closing hours. Anyway, so I looked on my phone and what popped up was that they have a hold on their license. So I wanted to just ask you generally, are we to trust Acela if there's a hold on licenses in the license search function? Or have you found a lot of those might be dated information? And if you want, I can certainly tell you the establishment and you can confirm either during the meeting here. Yeah. So anyway, where I was dining was on South Park Street. It was La Hacienda. And when you pull them up and when you do the search on Acela, it says that they have a Frank Liquor distributor hold on their license.
Let's see. Yeah, that shouldn't be current. I did see they had one, but it was released. This is from 2023. Let me double check what it shows on the website.
Yeah. So again, I'm on your clerk's office website, license search function, and that's when the warning label pops up that the license cannot be issued.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too. I don't know why it's pulling that. I'll have to check with our IT department why it would be pulling that one, and if it's a previous version or what. But no, there's no hold on their license currently. That was resolved already.
Great, that's good to hear. It would be helpful if IT could troubleshoot and see if there's any others like this that are in our search function. I'd hate to have misinformation out there publicly.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Try this. I don't see him yet.
I have a question as long as we're waiting.
Sure.
On the agenda, and so this is me getting to know that, after all of the things we just talked about, it has the Karen or Brewing. Is that something we cover in this meeting, or is that something that's just put through, or how does that usually work when they're asking for distributor or full service sales?
So Alder Glenn, that item was handled.
consent?
It was handled during the consent agenda, and so
Okay.
it was placed on file without prejudice. It's my understanding from the consent agenda itself that we actually didn't need to approve that. So is this something related to Act 73? Attorney McReynolds?
Yes. I can explain it a little bit since we have nothing else to do.
Yes, please.
So full service retail is a new term in the Wisconsin state statutes. And basically it's specifically designed for alcohol producers. So places like wineries, breweries, distilleries. Under the old law, they had rules about what they could sell, mostly their own products, maybe with some exceptions. But under the new law, they can apply to basically operate as a tavern, or sell, anything that they could normally sell with a liquor license, not just their own products. So, for example, a brewery could sell their beer normally, and now if they apply for full service, they could also sell wine and liquor. The weird thing is that most of this is approved by the state Division of Alcohol, not by cities. At least like breweries and producers that licensing goes through the state. So the full service retail also goes through the state, but it will come to the city for approval under certain circumstances. But under this particular circumstance, it does not come to the city for approval because they are doing it at their place of production. So if they wanted to have like an off-site place where they opened a bar essentially to sell their beer and then other liquor and wine, then it should come before the city for approval before it goes to the state for approval. But because it's on their production site, it just goes straight to the state for approval. So it's a complicated thing that's new for the whole state, and we really haven't dealt with it much yet here in the city. That's my dirty summary of it.
Thank you.
But
That's
if
very
anyone
helpful.
has, more questions, I'm happy to answer them or, put something together for folks if you'd like.
Since you insist, yes, I like.
You want something in writing, Alder?
Yes, please. That'd be good.
I'll find. I'll find something for you and send it out. There's probably something that the DOR, the DAB has already written that's more eloquent than I could put it. So I'll find something.
No, you were eloquent enough. I'm just gonna have to hear you multiple times.
Yeah.
That to stick. 8:30. It's been a long day.
Yeah, I'll find something and I'll have Jim send it to all the members of the ALRC.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are we making progress? Are we making progress on getting in touch with John Kavanaugh?
I emailed him a link to connect directly to the meeting and just have him register after, but I have not. I still don't see him in here.
This is Jim Boxford again. He doesn't see an email, or he, at least a couple minutes ago, he felt he didn't get an email, but he's still listening. And it is, if he were to, he said somebody was trying to call him. We're using his cell phone number?
Yeah, I called him earlier and left him a text, which his number told me to do. But I sent him an email to the email on the application.
Okay. Yeah. So he basically didn't have the email information. That's why he didn't get hooked up. But just want to figure out, can I say the last four digits of the number you're trying to make sure we get, or where you texted him?
8444.
No.
Because there was one that ended in 0193, but when I called it says it was disconnected.
Okay, it ends with 5650.
Yeah, I don't have that number.
Is it? Should I give it, or is it not over the public airways here?
Well, I emailed jkavan4023@aol.com is the email that I sent the link to.
Okay, I'm sorry I don't have his email, so I can't verify that. But
I'm just wondering,
could
is it
give you this.
possible for the gentleman on the phone does he know how to do it like a three-way call to call Kavanaugh on his phone and bring him up?
Yeah, James, do you know how to patch him up?
I'm not skilled at all this stuff here. Actually, and he's not on the line at the moment, but if I could give you that number, or if you could give me any other number that he could call directly into to you.
Zoom usually has a call-in number, right?
Yeah, it's on the agenda. If you just call the number on the agenda and plug in the.
Well, he doesn't have the meeting information, and so he hasn't had the email.
On the agenda, there's a phone number and a link and a meeting ID that he would need to connect to it.
Yeah, I'm saying he doesn't have that.
He's not here.
There isn't a tech guy that could call him and walk him through it.
Sir, I just texted you. If you share the number, I can pass it on to them.
I'm sorry, I missed what that was.
I just
that last one.
I just texted the number that I see on the screen right now. If you
Okay.
if you text me back the number, I can pass that to staff to try to connect.
All right. I will probably go through a disconnect here to get that done. But I will do that.
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just going to remind the committee that all options are on the table. Any preference any member has can be expressed as a comment, question, motion, etc. And that the motion to Alder Figueroa Cole.
So can I get clarity on when is this license already expiring, or how much time the person has
Yeah.
for the next meeting?
So this license, the applicant had a license and then sold the business. A new license took over and has since gone out of business. This licensee is now applying again and was granted a provisional license to operate while this application is going forth. And that license is due to expire when the Common Council will approve the full license that this application is being considered.
So if we wait to the next meeting, the license will already, he doesn't have a license today, is that what you just said?
He does have a provisional license right today? Yes.
He does have a provisional license today.
Correct.
And when does that end?
May 6th, which is the council meeting that this application goes before, that the recommendations of that the ALRC go before today.
Got it. Okay, so Jim, I sent you
I see that.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you got the text.
Yes.
Alder Glenn.
I was gonna ask a few questions, but if we get him, otherwise I'll put my hand back up.
I think there's time right now.
Well, I was going to ask some questions about looking through the license. It looked like he had done most of the things. Esquire Club is a really big, long time resident space. I mean, business space in our District 12 that has done and never had problems for many, many years. And so I was going to see what the possibilities were for approval if we couldn't get him on the phone with either some provisions but it looks like he did all three things. We've asked others. So I was just wondering. But if we can get him on the phone, then I don't have to worry about what the options are.
Yeah, I think we're getting closer to having him on the phone. On the 3 years I've been on this committee, I have never seen a request of this type get approved or otherwise dispensed with without hearing from the applicant. So I think we would have the legal authority to do it, but it's just not something that I've seen happen. Alder Matthews is with us, by the way. Alder Matthews, have you heard from this applicant? I guess this is your second day, so sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay. I am in my inbox right now, and I don't believe I have heard from this applicant. But let me just do a search just in case.
Okay.
So I have some emails about them getting a provisional license in March, but this is all still just back and forth with the previous alder and some other folks at the city. I don't have any direct communication from the applicant for this application, as far as I can see.
Okay, thanks for sharing. Okay. Are we getting any closer, Jim?
I emailed the link, or I texted the link.
Okay. So it sounds like we're getting closer, which just gives me encouragement. I don't think. Okay. Are there any other comments from members of the committee?
I am going to connect via phone. I have to be at the airport at 9:17, so I gotta get going. But we'll disconnect and connect back.
This is Jim.
Okay,
I sent
be right
you
back.
the link. I texted
What,
you the link.
what was that, Alder? Did you say that you were going to leave and then come back?
I'm going to leave the computer and connect on the phone.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so
Yep.
give me 1 second. Thanks.
Yeah, he called me, and I told him to click the link that he sent me. Oh, we have someone.
All right, I see an iPhone joined.
Okay, iPhone. Is that you, John?
Yes, this is me. Thank you.
Yeah. Grab me if you need.
Hello.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
Yes, I'm sorry. I've been on it all night watching the meeting, but I didn't know that I wasn't signed in.
Yep. That's all right. Let's move on. Let's move along. Do you how has your outreach been to the neighborhood, the alder, and the police captain on your application?
The neighborhood has been, since I took this place back, everybody in the world is coming in here and thank me for taking it back from Craig Spalding. And talked to, when I signed up when I redid the application, Alderman Burrows came right up with me to the city council to put it in, or to the city clerk to put it in. So it's been outstanding. You know, this restaurant's been in our family since 1947. And I was born in 1949, so I grew up here.
That's great to hear. And you plan on, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the business?
Well, and I took it back because when I sold it, he just took it to a bad spot, and I took it back, and I'm running it. I work 12 hours a day. It'll be the Esquire of the Old. We're a neighborhood supper club, and I'm ready, willing, and able to continue running it.
Other questions about the application from members of the committee? Are there any questions from members of the committee to staff or comments? Are there any motions?
Move to approve.
Alder Figueroa Cole moves to approve.
I mean, is there any conditions on this license from before? I want to make sure that it matches whatever was there before.
Yeah, let's
Hello. I'm
There
sorry.
were no
what?
conditions on the license.
No.
Okay, yeah, so my motion is to approve.
Okay, so a motion approved by Alder Figueroa Cole. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Glenn. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Is there any objection to approval? Seeing none, this item is approved. Thanks, John, for joining us.
Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you.
Take care.
Okay. Bye now.
Okay, I believe there is nothing left on our agenda. So the only thing we would be allowed to do is adjourn.
Move adjournment.
Move adjournment. Seconded. Is there a second?
Yes, second.
Second by Alder Glenn. Is there any objection? Seeing none. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks to all the committee members and especially our new committee members for sticking it out.
Thank
Good
you.
night.